Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to share with you guys my favorite fall and Halloween movies. So you guys grab you a cup of coffee, some tea, hot chocolate, just whatever you prefer, and come sit with me and let's talk about movies. I have a variety of movies set out for you guys. So I have a bunch of science fiction, sci-fi, a few scary horror movies. I have some kids movies, I have a few anime. So I've got a little bit for everybody. So let's start on a couple of TV series that I want to show you guys. Okay, so I know everybody has heard of this season, Supernatural. If you guys have not seen Supernatural, I highly recommend you guys watch it. Like there's like, I want to say there's 13 or 14 seasons of Supernatural now. And I do know there's people out there that have not seen this, but this is really good. This has like everything. This has humor, creepy, scary, a little horror in it. It has everything, you know, vampires and ghosts and werewolves and just, I mean, you name it, it has it. And I mean, this is really, really good. And you follow Sam and Dean as they go out to try to find their dad. And they have to basically do what he does and become a hunter. And they have to go out and they have to hunt. And they try to find clues about like where their dad is, and they're trying to find their dad and help him. But this is really good. I highly recommend this. Like any of the seasons is absolutely good, and like this is just good to sit down and put in and have a marathon of, because it has a little bit of everything for fall and Halloween. My next one is going to be Bates Motel. You have to watch this one. Now the original is really good as well. Psycho, which is the Alfred Hitchcock, it's really good as well as the original black and white version. It's good. But now as a TV series, this one I highly recommend. Like this is really good. I think I want to say there's 4 or 5 seasons of this. So as you know, Norman Bates is a troubled kid, and his mom, who's a little bit overprotective, tries to protect him, and she ignores his problem. As he just, progresses and gets older, he gets a little more crazy. But this is really good. I recommend this season. If you guys haven't watched it, this is really good. And then my next one is gonna be Castle Rock. And I am so sad to say that there's only 2 seasons of Castle Rock, so there's 1 and 2. They're not going to make a 3rd season, which I'm so sad about, because Stephen King said that he was going to do a cameo in the 3rd season if they were going to make one. I'm not sure the reason why they didn't make a 3rd season of this. I'm not really sure, but this is a good series. Even though there is two series, it's still a good series. So this is from, of course, Stephen King's books. I think it's just bits and pieces from some of his books that talked about Castle Rock in Maine. So it's just going to bring a couple of stories together, and like in the 1st season, it's just going to talk about this guy who's been imprisoned in Shawshank. And they find him like down in the bottom of one of these cells, like that had been closed off. And so they don't know who this guy is, don't know where he come from, don't know who he is. He's just been there, and he kind of gets out, and weird things starts happening. Like weird things happen if you touch him. Weird things like just follow him all over Castle Rock. And I mean, just disasters are happening, strange things happening to people. So, they're trying to figure out the mystery of who he is and why things are happening and where he came from in the 1st season. Now, the 2nd season, I will tell you guys, is probably my favorite, just because it's about Annie Wilkes, which is from Misery, of course. Now, this is going to go back, and it's kind of going to tell, I guess, their version of Annie Wilkes and how she became, who she was, like what was wrong with her. So this is going to take place before Misery, but it's going to kind of lead up to kind of how, I guess she got into those books and everything. But this is a really good series. Like I highly recommend the 2nd season. If you guys haven't watched it, I highly recommend this one, because it talks about Annie Wilkes from Misery, and you guys are going to be like really shocked to know about her life. So I highly recommend that. Okay, so my next one is American Horror Story. Now, if you guys haven't seen these are really good. I think they are on their 10th season right now. I want to say they're on their 10th season. They're filming it right now. For me, the first 4 or 5 were my favorites, just because they kept the same cast in those first 5 seasons. This first season, they say the first season is really good, which is called Murder House. But I mean, they have, you know, each season is called something different. So you got like Freak Show and Coven, Murder House. You got Asylum, which is really good. They take like each one of the seasons will take place in a different place, and every character will play a different character. And these actors are super good, because like they could just, you know, just how they play some of the characters, they could just go from one character to this character. Like, it is really, really good. So this has some big name people in it. So this has Jessica Lange, Evan Peters in it, which I know everybody knows Evan Peters. This also has Sarah Paulson and also Kathy Bates, which I really love. Because she did a super good job in some of these. But like I said, each one of these seasons is different. I highly recommend the first 4 seasons. Like, for me, they were really good, and these are creepy. Like, there is some creepy stuff going on in American Horror Story. I think Asylum was probably my favorite, and probably Freak Show, I think, was both 2 of my favorite ones. But, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody has a favorite one. They're all good to me. But, like I said, the characters and stuff in this is really, really good. I highly recommend American Horror Story. Okay, so let's talk about this one. Dracula. Now, this is going to take a new twist on Dracula. And I'm really sad to say that there's only 1 season of this, and I don't know why, because it was like another one of those that I thought that was really good, but they just didn't make a second season. I just don't know if they just didn't have enough, or they just wrapped it up in the first season. This has got Rosemarys in it, who is going to play Dracula. So he is going to come back to Victorian London. And the outfits and the costumes in this is just really good. Like, I recommend it just for that, just to see the outfits and the costumes in old London, the cobble streets, you know, the houses. But he is going to come back to look for the Order of the Dragon, who turned him in, like basically cursed him to be how he is now. And, you know, they took everything away from him. They, you know, killed his wife. So he has come back to wreak revenge on them in this. And when he does, he ends up meeting Mina, who bears a striking resemblance to his you know, wife that had got killed. And so he kind of falls in love with her, which kind of complicates things a little bit. But this is a really good series. I really hate they only did 1 season, but I do recommend watching it. Like, if you're just a big fan of Dracula and you like watching movies like that, you know, I highly recommend this one because it was really good. To me, it was really good. Okay, so this one, Penny Dreadful. If you guys haven't watched this one, watch it. Like, this is really good. Penny Dreadful has a little bit of everything. So it's got anything from Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, it's got Dracula, it's got Victor Frankenstein, it's got Dorian Gray in it, Frankenstein's monster, and it's got a few other tales kind of in it, and they're all intertwined. And into this tale, there is 3 seasons. I hate there's not a 4th one. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe there'll be a 4th season. I don't know. But this has Eva Green in it, who I absolutely love. She was great in this. I love the costume in this. Like, definitely watch this for the costume, because again, this is like in Victorian London, and the outfits that she wears is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, so I definitely recommend Penny Dreadful. It is currently one of my favorite movies to watch during Halloween. Absolutely addicted to these. And I have to say, I have to recommend Hannibal, which was super good. There is, I want to say there's 3 seasons of this, I want to say. That they only did 3. I kind of wish that they had did 4 seasons. We're keeping our fingers crossed on this one that they will come back and do a 4th season of this. But of course, as you know, this is going to be about Hannibal Lecter. This is kind of gonna take place before they capture him, and it's kind of gonna tell the story about how it led up to him being captured. It's also gonna talk about Will Graham. It's gonna talk about his story a bit now, and this is really good. Like I highly recommend it. It does have a lot of blood and gore in it, so I will just tell you, you know, like if you're not really into that, like a lot of that, this does have a lot of it in it. I never would have thought that there would have been another actor that I would have liked better than Anthony Hopkins, because he was like the Hannibal Lecter, and I was totally against this, and I was, you know, at first, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it a try, and like he did an awesome job in this. So this is, he did a slightly different approach to it than what Anthony Hopkins did. Both did a great job. Highly recommend this. Okay, my next one, Stranger Things. You guys gotta watch this. This is great. This is a Netflix original series. This takes place in 1983, so this is going to be like a whole 80s based movie. This has Winona Ryder in it, and she plays the mom that's in it. So this is going to be in a town called Hopkins, and a little boy is going to end up vanishing. As friends and family go out trying to look for the local boy that disappeared, they're going to find a girl who has strange supernatural powers, and she is also going to help them in the investigation of trying to find this little boy and what happened to him, because she also has a connection to it. This is just a very kind of Goonies feel to it, but I mean, you know, it's still that 80s kind of genre. Love it. It's got 80s music. It's just got like everything that's in it revolves around the 80s. Just love it. This is humorous. It's got some humor. It's funny. It's serious. It has sad moments in it. Absolutely love Stranger Things. You can watch this on Netflix. So I love these covers. They made them look like old VHS tapes. Love this. Not many people even know probably what a VHS tape is anymore, but like I love this. I love how it's just made, and you just open it up and it looks like a legit cassette tape. Like that is awesome. And I mean, you just open it up and then your CDs and stuff's on the inside of it. But absolutely love that. I thought that was a great touch to this, considering that it was like based in the 80s, you know, and everything. Something that you would have gotten like at the old movie palace or Blockbuster. I don't even know if anybody even remembers those, but like that's what they remind me of. I know the second season opens up like an old like Blockbuster case that you used to go and you used to pop it open and the VHS would be in there. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend that, especially if you guys are like a big 80s fan. Moving on. I need some coffee. I might start off with my kids' movies first. And then I might move into some of my sci-fi and science fiction movies, and then maybe go into some of my more scarier movies. So my first movie is of course Beetlejuice. I mean, who doesn't love this movie? I absolutely love this movie. Michael Keaton was great as Beetlejuice, and this is like a great 80s movie. I'm sure that everybody has seen Beetlejuice, but in case you haven't, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So this is a 1988 movie starring Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder. After Barbara and Adam go out for a outing, they end up getting into a car accident. And when they come back to their house, they realize that they have died. And these new people move in with their daughter Lydia, which is played by Winona Ryder, who can see the strange and unusual. So they attract the attention of Beetlejuice, who they try to hire to get rid of them, and it turns out to be a bit too dangerous for them, so they decided to want to do it another way. And he gets obsessed with the daughter. This is a very funny movie. I'm sure that everybody's seen this, but if you haven't, I highly recommend this movie. This is a great movie. So my next movie is The Goonies. Absolutely love this movie. I watched this movie all the time when I was a kid. I still watch it. This movie has a little bit of everything for everybody. So this is a 1985 movie starring Sean Astin and Corey Feldman. And this is a great movie about these kids that go on an adventure after after they find a treasure map in their attic. And they go out to try to find the treasure to try to help their parents out to get enough money to be able to keep the neighborhood the way that they want it, because these developers are coming in to try to demolish their neighborhood and turning it into a country club. So they go out seeking for this treasure that's supposedly supposed to be here in this town. So this has got like a little bit of danger, it's got comedy, I mean it's just like a total 80s like movie. Love it, love the music that's in it, and it's just great. I highly recommend this for fall and Halloween. Okay, so my next one is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Love this one. I still love this one. This is one that you can watch for fall and Halloween. So as you guys know, the gang reunite in this one to investigate the ghost of Moonscar the pirate. So when they get out there, they realize that there is actually ghosts on this island. There's some zombies and there's some ghosts like mixed up in this. There's pirates mixed up in it, and of course what could be better? I mean, you got ScoobyDoo and Shaggy. I mean, this is great. It's a great movie. Love it. Still love it. I highly recommend it for everybody. Okay, so my next one will be Halloweentown 1 and 2. I love these. These are great movies. I do know 1 and 2. I know there's a couple of these movies, but 1 and 2 are my favorite. So Marnie, who is this 13-year-old girl, on her birthday discovers that she is a witch, and she goes to Halloweentown with her grandmother and is trying to discover like her powers and who she is, where she came from, and she finds out that this guy who's evil is trying to take over Halloweentown, and she sets out with her mother and her grandmother to try to save the day. So these are really good. I recommend this for everybody. So my next movie is Kikis Delivery Service. Absolutely love this movie. This is a film by Studio Ghibli. This came out in 1989, but it didn't hit the US until about 1990. This has Kristen Dunn in it. She plays the voice of Kiki, and as you're going to follow Kiki as she sets out on her adventure. As a tradition in her family, she is supposed to set out to find her place in the world to become a full-fledged witch. So she takes off with her black cat Gigi, and she lands in this city, and this is a beautiful city by the ocean, and she opens up her own delivery service, delivering stuff to people. So you will follow her through her adventure and finding her place in the world. So I highly recommend this for everybody, like children, kids, adults. Like, this is a great movie for everybody, and like if you haven't seen all of Hayao Miyazaki's movies, I highly recommend it because all of his movies are beautiful. Coffee break. So my next movie is going to be Mary Riley. This is a 1996 movie starring Julia Roberts and John Malkovich. So this classic horror story of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is gonna get a new twist on it. So this is a movie about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but you're gonna see it through the eyes of his devoted maid, Mary Riley, who has a slight attraction to Dr. Jekyll and somewhat toward Mr. Hyde, but you're gonna follow her as she just kind of, you know, the more she gets a little bit closer to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like the more she starts to like unravel stuff and starts to figure out, you know, his secret. So I highly recommend this. This is not scary in any way. It does have some blood and gore in it, but it is not very, you know, not scary. This is something that I would want to sit down maybe on a cloudy, rainy day or just a fall, like a cool fall day, and just watch this. I do recommend this. This is really good. My next movie, and one of my favorites, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Absolutely love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is a 1977 Steven Spielberg movie. So this story is about a guy named Rory, and his life takes a unexpected change after a close encounters, and he starts to have all these images come up in his head, and he can't figure out like what it is he's seeing. And all these things start happening. He's confused. He doesn't know, why it's happening to him. And as he sets out to try to find out why this happened to him, and he's trying to find answers, and you're gonna follow him. Now, this movie, I absolutely love it because it has its funny moments, but it also has its serious moments too. If you guys haven't seen this movie, this is one of my favorite sci-fi movies. So I recommend this movie for fall and Halloween. I mean, sometimes I even watch it when it's not. But I love this one. Okay, so my next movie, The Shining. I know everybody has to have seen this movie. This is a classic of all time movie, one of my favorites. And I'm probably going to say that for every one of them. They're all my favorites, but this is truly a classic. So this is starring Jack Nicholson, and he played Jack Torrance. So he goes out to the Overlook Hotel to become the caretaker of the hotel during the winter season. And he goes crazy pretty much while he's there. And, he tries to kill his family, and just like he finds out, all these mysteries about the hotel and that it's haunted. And Jack Nicholson plays such a good character in this. Like, I absolutely love it. Like, I've seen it 100 times. I have my favorite scenes that are in it, but he really does play a good psycho. But I highly recommend this movie. I mean, I'm sure that everybody has seen it. If you haven't seen it, I recommend this movie. Do watch it. Like, this is a great Halloween movie. So the next movie, Alien. Love this movie. This is a great Halloween movie. This is a 1979 Ridley Scott movie starring Sigourney Weaver, and she plays Ripley. And what happens is they get a distress call from another planet. So they go out there to investigate this call, and they find out that there's something not quite human on this planet. One of their people gets attacked while they're out here on this planet. So they come back, and they realize that he is a human host for whatever this mysterious life form is. So it gets loose on their ship, and they have to try to stay alive and try to kill this thing before they reach Earth. And this is a super good movie, great sci-fi movie, love it. This is great for Halloween, and anybody that's in sci-fi, I highly recommend this one. This is good. So my next movie is going to be Six Souls. So now, I'm not sure if anybody's heard of this. I do believe that this is a 2013 movie, I think. So somewhere right around in there, this movie come out. It stars Julia Moore and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, who I absolutely love. They both did an amazing job in this movie. This is a haunting thriller with a few jump scares in it. This movie is about Dr. Kara Harling. So she is a psychiatrist of multiple personalities disorders. So she gets a call from her father. He wants her to come down and check out this guy. His name is Adam, who Jonathan Rhys-Meyers plays. And she is skeptical when she meets him. She thinks he's faking it. There's, nothing wrong with it. She goes to investigate, what happened to him and why he has these multiple personalities. And it turns out to be something entirely different than what she would have thought. So Adam starts to assume the identities of people that had been murdered. And so as she investigates this, things start to turn dangerous, and for her and her family. So I highly recommend Six Souls if you guys haven't seen it. Okay, so the next movie is Ginger Snaps. Now, this is a 2004 movie. This is starring Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabel, and this is going to take place in the 19th century about two girls, Ginger and Bridget, who get lost in a forest. And this guy finds them, takes them back to Fort Bentley. And when they get there, they realize that things are strange, like there's weird things going on. And they tell these girls that there's these creatures that are out in the woods. And the longer they stay here at this fort, the more that they start to realize that there is some kind of creature in the forest. One of the sisters ends up getting attacked and she starts to transform into one of these creatures. This is just a really, really good movie. I believe that there's 3 of these, but this is my favorite one out of all 3 of them. But it's got a great story too. I love both the girls that play in this, and I highly recommend this one. Okay, so the next one will be Shutter Island. Love this movie. This has Leonardo DiCaprio in it. This is a 2010 chiller thriller kind of movie. It does have a few jump scares in it, but I mean, this is not scary, but like I said, it's more on the thriller kind of side. But this has Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and he plays Teddy Daniels. And you're going to follow him as he goes out to this island, which is an asylum for the criminally insane. So he's going out to this island to investigate a missing persons, or so he thinks. The more that he goes to investigate this missing person, the more weird it gets. And you're just like you're gonna be blown away by the end of this. Like, I mean, it's kind of one of those movies where you're gonna kind of, you know, put the pieces together, you know yourself, and you're gonna follow in, like, kind of pay close attention to what's going on, like the little details in this movie, like as you're going through this movie. I don't want to give anything away, but this is a really good movie. Highly recommend this movie. It's got a little bit of mystery to it. Love it. My next one is gonna be Queen of the Damned. So this movie is gonna be all about Lestat. And this is based on Anne Rice's book, Queen of the Damned, of course. So in this movie, Lestat's going to become a rock star. So he's going to come out, he's going to be big, he's going to start giving away vampire secrets, the vampire community is going to start coming after him. This has a great soundtrack to this. If you guys haven't listened to the soundtrack to this movie, I highly recommend it. So this has Stuart Townsend and also Aaliyah in it. And let me just tell you that Aaliyah did an absolutely good job at playing the queen in this movie. Like I said, I highly recommend this movie. You guys do listen to the soundtrack. If you've never listened to the soundtrack to this movie, I highly recommend it. It's got some good music on it. Okay, my next one I have is Rosemary's Baby. This is a 1968 movie. This movie it's not scary, but it does have a creepy feel to it. She moves into this apartment and, like, strange things start happening. Like, the neighbors are strange, like, just strange events. Her husband starts to act strange, and just, you know, you don't know, like, is she going crazy? Is like, just like, what's going on until you get up to the end of it. And it is, like, super creepy at, like, the end of this movie. I mean, this was like a truly, like 60s movie. But I do highly recommend this movie if you guys haven't seen this movie. I know there's a lot of people I know that haven't seen this movie, but it does start off just a little bit slow, but I mean, it's just one of those movies, like, you're just curious, like, why did that happen? What was she doing? Like, what, you know, pay close attention to the stuff, like, in the background in the room, you know. So I do highly recommend this movie. This is a really good movie. Okay, so my next movie is Krull. Now, this is a 1983 film. This is a fantasy, kind of sci-fi adventure movie. This is not scary. It is, like I said, more on the sci-fi side, but I do love watching this movie. So this movie is going to take place on a planet called Krull, and there's an evil creature called the Beast who kidnaps a princess named Lisa, and her betrothed that she is supposed to get married to, Colin, goes out to find her. And on his way, he meets this motley band of, like, thieves and murderers and you know, escaped convicts, and he brings them together, forms a small, I guess you could say, army of followers to go out and look for this thing called the Beast and to kill him. But before he could go and face the Beast at his castle, he must first have to go and look for a mythical weapon, and it's called the Glaive. This is a really good movie. It is a great sci-fi movie, and, like, again, like I said, This is of course an 80s movie, but this is great. The costuming is great in this. The story is great in this. I highly recommend it. Love watching it. I'm sure you guys will watch it. If any of you guys have seen this movie, let me know. Okay, so my next one, of course, is Halloween. You guys gotta watch Halloween. I mean, one and two is my favorite out of Halloween. I mean, I know everybody has seen the Halloween movies, but I do highly recommend Halloween. It's a tradition. You gotta watch Halloween on Halloween. I mean, it's just a tradition to watch those movies. I mean, for me it is. You know, even though I've seen them 1,000 times, it's still a tradition that I have to watch it at least one time on Halloween. So, my next movie is Vilhara. Now this movie, it still kind of creeps me out a little bit. Like, this is the original Vilhara. So this is about a house that is supposedly possessed. And when this family moves in, they start hearing voices and seeing things, and strange things start happening in this house. And the dad starts acting really weird, you know, violent, never wants to leave the house, and like his wife starts to suspect there's something going on with him. Is he possessed? Is he like what's wrong with him? But this is a really good movie. This is based on a true story. This is still, like, I still think the first one is still creepy, like, just because I guess it's a 70s like movie, but I still, in my opinion, think that it's still creepy. It still creeps me out to kind of watch it, but I highly recommend this. This is a really good movie. So, okay, I didn't get to everything that I wanted to get to. I may, like I said, end up doing a part 2 to this video for you guys, and maybe share the rest of the movies that I think is really good and that I like watching, because I do have so many of them. And you guys do let me know like what your favorite movies are. Maybe there's something out there I haven't seen, and or maybe, you know, I just didn't show. And if there's like a favorite of yours, you know, just let me know, leave it in the comments. I will see you guys in the next video.